Send a powerful message to those people who live in the past and tell them no more business as usual and no more repeat performances because we're going to make America great again.
Hey everyone, welcome once again to yet another episode of Two Noobs Talking. Of course, this is the big motherlode. This is the episode 5-0. And with me, of course, is my wonderful co-host who has been with me for most, if not all of these, Mr. John Tracy. John, how you doing, man? What's going on tonight?
Some of them. We've been there, some of them.
Most of them, yeah, exactly. And of course, we also have Mr. Steve Murray, but I think he might be doing something else. I don't know. Of course, I'm Matt Craig here, and we're really happy to have you with us. Like I said, it's episode 50. Can't believe we've hit the big 5-0, John. Let's rattle off some quick numbers real quick. Who do you think wore that number in the city of Philly?
Well, we gotta go with World Series champion Jamie Moyer. We'll be talking a little baseball later.
Heck yeah. Yeah, and was perfect at really just painting the corner every single time. What was so great about him?
Oh yeah, and then we got my favorite linebacker ever that isn't William Thomas, James Willis.
Oh, there you go. Oh, wait a minute.
Found him.
We found him. We got a special guest. I think I know who this is, Johnny. What do you think?
Oh yeah, the big 5-0. The big anniversary. Yeah. But that 5 is important. You know why? Because when you put it in front of the 0, that gets rid of the empty void. The empty void, filled with the electromagnetic waves carrying my boys at the Two Noobs. You know, you boys are like the ketchup on the burger. You bring the sweet stuff, yeah. All right. You know, I gotta give you credit. You got Andrew Cuomo to resign, yeah.
Damn straight.
That big bad boy up in New York, it was all because of the news. Yeah, he was nervous. You made him pee-pee in his big boy pants. You guys did it. I don't care what anybody else says. That makes you my hero. Yeah, but you know, sometimes you don't always get it right. Sometimes you get it wrong. That Newsom thing, you were on the wrong side of that one. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna name names, but somebody might have lost a lot of money betting on that pick you boys made. Yeah. Not me, no, but that's okay. We all make mistakes, yeah. Now listen, I was listening to you boys last week. I heard what you said. You said he's a nutcase, he's coming in hot, yeah. I heard what you said. I didn't like the taste, but I swallowed it anyway. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Jackhammer and John Tracy, and Mr. Mashed Potato Matt Craig, yeah. I didn't like what you said, but I swallowed it anyway. You know why? Look, I'm just like everybody else. I put on my pants one waist at a time. Yeah, but when I don't get my Two Noobs every Monday afternoon, that's when I go a little crazy. I take the milkman and I rip him a new one. That's still a thing, right? The milkman, yeah.
The milkman's in trouble.
But if making me crazy because I don't get my Two Noobs makes me a nutcase, well, then I guess this week you got Two Noobs and a nutcase. We're going to do a great show. Big 5-0. The ketchup is on the burger. And any kind of meat you got. Yeah.
Mr. Mach, we're going to have to upset you a little bit more.
Oh, no.
We're moving to Wednesdays.
Oh, that milkman's gonna have 2 new ones ripped. Oh, 2 ripped ones, yeah, all right. Okay, I think I popped about 3 veins. I'm gonna have to sit back and enjoy the noobs.
Love it. Mr. Macho Man Randy Savage. John, we spared no expense around here. You know what I'm saying?
No, we do not. We
certainly do not.
Cost a lot of money to bring someone back from the dead.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, we spare no expense. We did all kinds of gain-of-function research. It really stopped to think about it, Johnny. You know what I'm saying?
Little Fauci fun?
Yeah, a little Fauci fun. You know, a little Riddler fun. But it's great to have
a lack of oxygen to the brain right now.
Can we all take a moment of silence for Mr. Murray to breathe so he can...
Exactly. Well
What
done.
are we talking about again?
Oh, we'll get to it actually here, but let's hit with topic number 1 as Macho Man tries to spin around here for a minute. But gents, we're talking here a little bit about the country of Iraq, and Afghanistan, of course, that's been a humongous clusterfuck. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It was terrible with the withdrawal.
On live not live.
Not live. That's right. But I did find this really interesting Wall Street Journal article that was here, and written by Paul Bremer and David Gumpert, as Afghanistan reverts, Iraq makes steady progress. So basically, it's a terrific opinion piece. Talks about how the fact that the Iraqis wrote the new constitution, of course, but an interesting point that we found, or I have found in the article, was that the constitution says that no less than 25% of the parliament is female, and it opened the way for Iraqi women to receive educational and professional equality. So, and there are some other things as well. Since 2004, the country of Iraq has had 5 straight peaceful transitions of power. That's something that really has kind of gone under the radar, if you really stop to think about it, guys. Then, of course, they had, I think, a notable example of the transfer of power was when they had one prime minister who was pro-Iran, who ran there from 2006 through 2014. He was succeeded, but was the succession happened without conflict. So it definitely handled, our transition of power. We're so used to it here in America. It happened over there in Iraq. But like all things, it is a very young democracy, very young representative republic. There are all kinds of areas and issues. John, I'll go to you first. What was your thought after reading through that entire article, the Wall Street Journal piece?
It was very simple, actually. The fact that we haven't had news on Iraq in, God, a while. I didn't know how they were doing. But to see that, and to see that the opinion piece was very interesting, that they were trying to draw a comparison to Afghanistan. That threw me off a little bit because, like we'll talk about, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Just very simply, Iraq is a very, very, very middle class kind of country. Mm-hmm. Afghanistan is a very tribal country.
Yeah.
2 differences. I'm glad to see that there's so much, whether it's I don't care what government they're involved in. It doesn't matter to me because A, I don't live there, and B, I'm not trying to run the world. So sure. I don't care what they're doing.
Yeah.
By government wise, but to see that they're prospering and seeing it's going well is very awesome, because we pulled out and they're self-sustaining, and they are in the hotbed of a community that is very
well, yeah. I mean, it doesn't take long. You've got Iran to your east, and of course they've had conflict even before we started to show up. In the 80s they had a huge war that basically was a tie. A lot of people died. And then, of course, to the west in Iraq, you have Syria, who had their own problems with their own civil war. So here is this, right in the middle of the Middle East, you've got this country that is trying this out.
Yeah.
So far, so good. I mean, is it rosy? No. It's not going to be. But it is encouraging, I think, in that regard. And it's such a great point, too, that it is a working class type of country as opposed to Afghanistan, where it was all tribal, and they didn't fully get it. Steve, your thoughts on it, real quick.
I agree with John. There's a lot of differences between Iraq and Afghanistan. I think Iraq, the military, was in much better shape than Afghanistan's is now.
Yep.
Or now, after they've already been overrun, but before they were overrun. And I think Iraq was in a much better position socially. Afghanistan's been a mess since the 70s. They've been invaded. The Soviet Union invaded. They've had tribal Iraq has its own, divisions. I mean, there's Sunnis and Kurds and Shiites. I think were the big three.
Yep.
And it's impressive that their transfers of power have been peaceful, even though some sides may not be happy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as
we
the U.S. shows
from them.
Oh yeah.
yeah, really.
Mm-hmm.
But Afghanistan when we originally went in there, you have to remember, we didn't go in specifically to take the Taliban out of power. We went in there because they were harboring Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
And they were using Afghanistan to train and as a base of operations for their terror activity.
Mm-hmm.
And the Taliban was kind of harboring them. So they were they were an atrocious regime.
Yeah.
Very brutal.
Yeah.
They still are. But they had been that way for 5 years before we went in there. So
easy. Yeah.
Kicking them out of Kabul was, sort of secondary, however, to getting rid of Al-Qaeda in their country.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the main objective to overrun the Taliban. What the United States did was they were trying to overrun Al-Qaeda. They just pushed the Taliban out to the outer bands.
Mm-hmm.
And that's easily why they ran roughshod on the country as soon as we were moved.
Sure.
Because they were already ready.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's another big difference from Iraq. When we toppled Saddam in Iraq, that was kind of it for his ruling party.
Well, there were people that were happy. So you had a
uniting force. Yeah.
Iraq,
yeah.
To be honest, because there were people that were happy that we were there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we took a poll, probably not everybody, not even half, but we had some ground support. And that was the thing with Afghanistan that they keep trying to beat us with the media, is that we abandoned those ground support. So we might not have any ground support there.
That's true. But the point I'm trying to make was when we toppled Saddam, that was it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was easier. Yeah.
The Taliban, we never destroyed or got rid of the Taliban. Okay. We may have kicked them out of the capital, Kabul, of Afghanistan, but they still, for the last 20 years, have controlled large portions of the country.
No doubt.
So it's not like of
the country.
Yeah.
It's not like they came back out of nowhere, right?
No, you're right. No, it's at least, I think it was 75% of the country they were controlling.
It wouldn't surprise me.
They were because they were not controlling the major airport, the secondary airport, or Kabul. That's it.
Yeah.
But they had been moving. I'm not saying they controlled it at that time, but at the time of our pullout, they had 75% of the country.
Yeah.
They were moving and making moves throughout this 20 years.
Yeah.
They were making moves for this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think this whole thing really with them was they were biding their time essentially. Mm-hmm. Now the question that the watching world is going to look to see with them is, are you going to harbor another Al-Qaeda or ISIS-K or ISIS faction for training? Because if you do, we're going to come after you again. So the eyes of the world are on them. Now, the question is, do we trust them? That's the question. That is still TBD, really, in that regard.
I have a question for Steve, quickly. We went back into Iraq a couple times, correct? As we were doing that. Do you feel that's something that we're going to have to do with Afghanistan also?
I think what you're mentioning is we originally pulled out of Iraq, I believe it was 2011.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that is then when ISIS started sort of their rise to power, and they captured large portions of Iraq during the height of their work. So we went back, I think, again, the date was probably 2014, because we had to help Iraq get rid of ISIS. It would not shock me if, the Taliban's promising things are different 20 years later. That's yet to be seen. But, if Al-Qaeda or something starts hanging out in Afghanistan again, we may not have a choice but to go back.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. That's for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was a very interesting kind of I guess you could say, progress report on how Iraq has been doing. I love the fact that they've instituted 25% into their parliament for that representation to be female, which is amazing in an Arab country. Yeah.
That's huge.
It's huge.
That's something to build in, the world becoming a better place. That is absolutely something that, to look at as something really important.
No doubt.
It is not something you will likely see at all under a Taliban rule in Afghanistan.
No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely not.
Well, gents, let's move on here to topic number 2. And John, you found a very interesting New York Post opinion piece. I guess a 4-point opinion piece, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah,
involving the president and whatnot. So let's talk about that.
This kind of got underneath me, and we have to talk about this. Biden plays death politics.
Ugh. Not necessarily a good.
Yeah, this popped up on the screen. Blah 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 blah. It's an editorial piece from the New York Post. I read through it. I agree with about 50% of it. But what I don't even want to really get into the piece. It'll be in the show notes. You guys can look at it. Most people that follow us will probably think similar to what we're thinking when you read it. Mm-hmm. What I want to pose is. What they're trying to say with Biden is that he's the worst thing that ever happened. And if you were reading an editorial piece back in 2016, they were saying Trump was the worst thing that ever happened. So is this just what the left and right are going to do in the media all the time? Is this now our new news? Are we just going to sit here and just back and forth and see articles? Oh, Diner kicks out couple for wearing a mask. Oh, Diner doesn't let a couple go in because they're not wearing a mask. Are we literally living in this time of identity politics from the left and right, and that's all that exists? Because that's what this piece brings. That's the thought process the piece brings up.
That's such a great question, John. Steve, if you want to go ahead.
You just summarized why I don't read the news.
There you go. Yeah.
Exactly.
For me, it's kind of interesting because I think all of us, you could say, has been on the center of some side. Some on the left, some on the right. We've kind of dabbled, but we've mostly been right down the middle with maybe the occasional leans right or left, depending. This is very interesting because you had Obama, who was more toward the left. Then you had Trump, who was an absolute wild card. No one really knew what he stood for, but he leaned conservative and really, I think, taught the Republican Party you can be aggressive in your politics towards your enemies. Now, he took it too far. Yeah.
But he also leaned liberal in certain aspects, which was bizarre to everybody.
Which was very bizarre. He was a true wild card. My point.
Exactly. He was all over the place.
Yeah, he was. And now you have Biden, who has flip-flopped so many times throughout his 45-year career in politics. I'm not going to pull any punches. This guy has not been consistent in any one of his, political machinations or opinions or whatever the case may be. He's all over the place. You don't know what you're getting, but he's leaning hardcore left.
Yeah.
So the question is, what's going to happen in 2024? Are we going to swing all the way back over to the right? Because I think you're starting to see that a little bit in the Republican side because they're ramping up DeSantis, they're ramping up probably Abbott and other candidates.
They're definitely ramping up Elder to make a run again, even though not the you got his Trump's former press secretary is running for mayor in Arkansas. You have Herschel Walker running for governor of Alabama. Like there's a ton of movement going on. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. I live here. I totally know he's running. I can't remember his name, but there's a Republican running for governor against Abbott that is his literal slogan is "I'm a real Republican."
Wow. Yeah, I don't even know what that means anymore.
You're not going to get any more Republican than that.
Yeah, I guess. But at the same time, I don't know what that even
I don't think anybody knows. I don't think the left or right knows what any of that. I think we're arguing about stuff that we don't know anything about. I'm not saying us, but what I'm saying is in the media, we're arguing about stuff we don't know anything about.
Know everything.
You sounded like Venom, by the way. But I just wanted to bring it up before we get into the lighthearted stuff. I just want people to think, and if you guys got anything else to add, are we just playing identity politics at this point?
I think so.
Is that just what we're doing in the news?
I think so, John. I think politics to most Americans means everything. It's everything. It surrounds and encompasses your life if you let it. Yeah. Really, from everything from your decisions, your taxes, but also on top of that, it's like, what is your identity? Do you agree with these amount of people? And if so, you're going to go on this Facebook page to post your opinion. And you're going to be segregated in one camp, and then because it happens on both the left and the right.
You're absolutely right.
And so.
But what I do is I worry about who my county commissioner is because I want to make sure that the parks get funded for the kids.
Yep.
I worry about who the mayor is. I worry about who the governor is. I worry about the taxes, of course, because I would like more money in my paycheck than anybody else.
Sure.
I don't so much worry about who the president is because they got like that much power. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't really, that's not my thing. But local politics, I do really care about because it affects my life. Mm-hmm. But that's not identity politics.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what's freaking me out. My life is a lot about politics. I actually care who's controlling my life in my community. Mm-hmm. I really care about that.
But in your community, though, not
in my
nationally.
Community. Yeah. But what I'm afraid of is people are taking it to that national level, and that's starting to freak me out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. You'll probably, if you see it, I think I remember seeing there was a yard sign of someone running for a school board saying "people over politics," and I thought, okay, yeah, right. Because it's we're all political animals to one extent or another. We all have different biases or whatever.
Very true.
But it's that's a nice slogan to have, but it's really? What are you putting that on a yard sign for? It doesn't make any sense. To me, it doesn't make any sense.
Being screwed for this long, you're gonna say things like that, to be honest, because people that want to help are going to be afraid to help because of people like us, but they're going to be willing to help because of people like we're seeing, writing these editorial pieces that president is the worst president. Is he? Well, what that's to be determined. You guys still got to beat Clinton now. Come on. Joking. But what I mean?
Of course,
those editorial pieces, because just 4 years ago, Trump was the worst president ever.
Yeah.
So are we the ESPN generation in politics now? Is my ending question to this whole thing.
Yes.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Is it all about the highlights?
Let's move on to your awesome piece.
Yeah, exactly. So let's transition away from all the politics stuff. And we're talking some...
Let's get to the ketchup, yeah.
Let's get there. So we're talking Flyers Hall of Fame, and who better to talk Philadelphia Flyers than the man up there in the upper left-hand corner of my screen, Mr. Steve Murray, who has been a huge Flyers fan ever since I've known him for the better part of 20 some odd years.
I'm a hockey fan, but he'll say different.
Steve, I let you have the floor, my good man. What do you have for us?
Thank you. So a few weeks ago, the Flyers announced that they were revamping. They have not had an entrant go into the Flyer Hall of Fame for, I believe, at least the last 5 years.
That's shocking.
Wow.
It is.
That is absolutely shocking.
How is that even possible, really?
Laziness. I don't know.
I get it. Exactly.
Ceremony in the middle of right before the All-Star break when you don't have something else. When Gritty's busy, you can't put someone in the
Yeah, exactly.
So they haven't had anybody go in for the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. So they revamped the system for how people get nominated and voted in. I don't really care what the system is, but they released a list of 6
finalists
Mm-hmm.
for this year to go into the Hall of Fame. And as I understand it, there's no limit. Like the NHL Hall of Fame, I think you only get 4 players per year.
Okay. Wow.
That can actually go in.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like 4 players, and then you could have like a
executive
GM or executives.
Okay, so
like that,
GM
but it's limited.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's limited to 4. The Flyers, as I understand it, have not limited it. So all 6 of the finalists could make it in this year. That's yet to be seen. I wanted to bring this up because I know you guys have followed the Flyers a lot for as long as I've known you.
No doubt.
I wanted to vet the candidates. I want to do players only because when you get into categories like Lou Nolan's one of the finalists, he's the in-arena announcer. I mean, he's getting it.
Duh.
Exactly.
Paul Holmgren is a player, but he's also been in the organization for 40 years in about a billion other roles.
General president. He's a general manager. He's the president. He was the head coach. He was an assistant coach.
Yeah.
He probably was the water boy. He probably served you food at one time in a suit.
He probably did.
For the Flyers for that long.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's easy enough. They're going to get in at some point. But what I wanted to do was there are 4 players on the finalist ballot. Talk about whether or not they are deserving. And then I have separately a list of 6 players who have big name recognition in Flyer history, who are currently retired.
Okay.
So that their stories are written. It's done. And see what you guys think of their potential candidacy down the road, because some of the names are very interesting. Some of them I think should be no-brainers. Some of them, when we actually dug into the statistics, were very surprising during pre-production. And some of them can be a real
orange.
There you
What's
go.
that?
Switching his lights to orange there in the back.
There you go.
For your audio listeners, he just switched from green to orange. There you go.
Sorry, you fired me up to one point. I need to grab my remote and switch to orange.
Oh yeah.
What other colors you got there?
All of them.
Oh, nice.
I got a very small remote, but
wow, look at that. You got the
I got enough
kaleidoscope there, Johnny.
I can make them do stuff too, but I don't know how to. My daughter's not home right now, so I can't operate my own stuff for this podcast.
Can we get red and green for the Christmas episode?
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to definitely do that.
Maybe I'll work on it. I'll buy other ones if I can.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I'll make it work, man.
There you go.
All right, so
let's hit that list.
The 4 players that are on the ballot.
Okay.
This season, we have Bob the Hound Kelly, Rick Tocchet,
okay,
Mark Recchi, and Simone Gagne.
Good list.
Well, let's go old men first. So Bob Kelly, what are your guys' thoughts on the Hound?
I mean, first thing that comes to my mind was not only was he a great fighter, but also a great practical joker. You made a great, I think, one of our pre-production meetings, Steve, where you were like playing an alumni game, right? And against him, and you had the puck, and you were going, I guess, 1-on-4, which is not a good place to be, but you're at least carrying the puck.
It was a line change. I was just occupying the puck.
There you go. And so you try to make the move past Kelly, and you think you got by him, and yoink, he pulls you right down to the ice. And what was his line to you?
So I guess I'm going 1-on-4. I'm about to come out, a tug on the arm. It knocks me down and spins me around. And Bob Kelly says to me as he skates by, "Good try, young fella."
Because he's like 265 at that time, but he
catch up to you. Yeah, he's a big boy. So I harbor some personal ill will toward Mr. Kelly.
As well you should.
However, I do not let that bias my opinion on his Hall of Fame candidacy.
No.
And I will agree. He deserves to be in there. The numbers are not spectacular on him, although surprisingly, he was a plus 134 for his Flyers career in 740 games.
Insane. Did he play in the 80s?
I wouldn't believe that he did.
He probably did for a
tail
for a
end,
couple
maybe of the
years.
early 80s.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if he didn't play like the full 80s and he's running that big of a plus, like he obviously was a decent hockey player. You know what I mean? Like, just thinking about that, because the 80s were the blow up of plus minus. The
Steve,
70s weren't so much.
Yeah. Steve, you said there was 730 games, right, in his career?
741 games to be exact.
Okay, so I did
in which, by the way, he racked up 1,285 penalty minutes, according to my notes.
Oh, I love
a lot of fighting majors. So if you did that
voting
over,
yes, even more now because of that.
Yeah, exactly. If you took and I don't know if they played 82 games, but if you did that over an 82 game season, 741 games.
I think they played 80, but it could be 82.
Let's just say 82 for argument's sake. You're looking at about 9 seasons. So,
okay.
Like potentially he could have been in 1980, 81. We'll have to look that up, but very interesting. Yeah, he's in. He's in. Yeah. I mean, he's part of the. I mean, 2-time Stanley Cup winner. I don't think you could complain about that. And one of the greatest ambassadors the Flyers have ever had in the alumni. So yeah, he got to be in. Has to be in.
And just add real quick, just a little bit of Bob Kelly knowledge. He's known as the guy that dropped the gloves. He's known as one of the tough and tumble of that team. Dude could play.
Like, when you're plus 140, when you're in the plus 100, you can play.
He could actually play. When you watch the old footage, man knew how to back check a little bit. The man knew how to, as Steve learned, knew how to put his stick in places that you didn't want him in and slow guys down. He is renowned as a defensive forward, defenseman, kind of moving. I said it like 2 different ways, but he knew how to move it forward and backwards. Yeah. And he wasn't, when he was in the zones, he probably wasn't, like in the offensive zone, he probably wasn't the best player, but he knew where to play. And when he was in the back end, he definitely knew how to play. He definitely knew who his goalie was. He knew how to do that stuff. But in the middle, he knew how to get under your skin, and that's probably why I got in the fights he did.
Oh, no question about that. It was funny because what you just said, John, it kind of made me thinking early, actually, I should say, oh, he was a defenseman, right? And you guys were like, no, he was a winger. And I was like, oh, man, I didn't even realize that. It was a winger doing that. It was plus 1.
Because he knew how to play both of the zones. Like, he knew how to come back. He knew how to go. And it's a lost art in hockey.
It really is.
Honest. Like, the 70s, they did it well because you're going against guys, like that Buffalo Sabres that they were playing against in the 70s. That was probably the hottest line in the history of hockey. Yep. And they were playing them, and they were able to shut them down.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
The stats back you up, by the way, that he knew how to play. This also surprised me. He did score 128 goals as a Flyer.
That's fantastic.
That's crazy.
That's not bad.
When you told me that, I was blown away by that. I was like, I thought when you brought up the Hound the first time, I'm like, dude, he scored, like in my head, I'm just like, he had 65 goals for his career, like 10-year career, 65 goals. Like, he's got Dan Kordick numbers is what I'm thinking. Like, it's because what the way you think of these players.
No, sure.
And then you said that, and then like I started to do some research on Kelly, and I was like, watch a couple films, and I was like, this dude was way better than my little brain, my 3-year-old brain remembers him. Like,
exactly.
My 42-year-old brain is like, damn, that dude could play some hockey. Yeah. Like, be in there.
Exactly.
All right, let's step into the 80s. Let's talk about Rick Tocchet.
Oh,
what do you say about that?
The reason I like Flyers hockey.
Just
my aunt and uncle on my dad's side loved Rick Tocchet. I think I had a Tocchet jersey. I'd have to check with my parents. I don't remember because I was that young.
22.
I think I had a Tocchet or a Zezel jersey. Who knows? But they were what Flyers hockey was. So I just vote on that because that's my first memory, basically.
Yeah, I think that's 80s Flyers.
Then, right?
Say again?
He was a captain back then, right?
He was,
I think so. I don't think he was originally.
No.
But I think he then, like a year or two.
He might have been a couple years after Clark was.
Yeah.
But only for a couple of seasons. But
he was the transitional player between Clark and the next generation.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what makes him. He immediately goes in the Hall of Fame. The stats you're going to read off, people are going to be like, like, oh my God, I didn't know he was that good. You know what I mean? Like
real quick. Yeah, real quick. Those 80s Flyers, that's when I was really getting... I mean, I became a Flyers fan when I was 7. So that was like 1985. Dating myself there. But
you're right on par.
I loved watching those 80s Flyers team. I could not get enough of them. You had... Not only did you have Tocchet, but you had Zezel, you had Prop, you had Sinisalo, you had Eklund, you had Timmy Kerr. You had so many great forwards. You had so much depth down the middle.
Yeah.
Great defensive pairings in the back end. You have Mark Howe, and Gordie Howe was there every night, you know, at the Spectrum watching his son play. And then, of course, you had Lindbergh and net. I mean, my God, and Hextall. That decade was just unbelievable. It's just too bad they didn't win a cup. But, my God, that was just like sold out every night. And Tocchet was a huge part of it. Huge part of it.
And he did come back in, I believe it was 99.
Yeah, he did.
A couple more seasons.
And Steve told us that he wore 92, which is
Yeah.
I totally need a throwback Tocchet 92 jersey.
You need that black Flyers jersey, Tocchet 92 on the back.
A black one, absolutely.
Yeah.
The black one.
Yeah, you need the black one with the orange strip
No, absolutely. Like every Flyers fan needs that because that was the one memory I have of Tocchet, like just thinking about him.
Yeah.
Like first childhood memory I had was when he got traded to Pittsburgh and he wore 92, and I was like, he's so much cooler now than he was when he was younger. Just to get, what I was like 12. 90 numbers were cool back then.
Yeah, exactly.
His Flyers stats, he played 621 games for the Flyers.
Ton of games.
232 goals. 508 points.
Ooh.
And was plus 59.
Okay.
For anybody that doesn't play hockey, it's hard to score goals.
Yeah.
On that level, not only in your bar league, it's hard to score goals.
I believe for his career, he's over 500.
Yeah, he is.
For his career. And he also was good with the fists. I don't have his penalty minute numbers here. But
he was a great guy.
He knew how to drop them.
Oh, yeah.
He was a decent to adequate penalty minute guy, fighting-wise. He fought only when needed. He was no Donald Brashear if we're talking like real hockey, but he was definitely a guy that would drop the gloves if needed.
You knew he could pick his spot too, because you knew how important he was to be on the ice scoring 232 goals in his career. And obviously, you want that more. You want him in the penalty box, but he knew when to drop
a little bit more. He was a good coach when he coached. I don't know if he's still coaching, assistant, or he might be out of the league at this point. But
I want to say he's still in Phoenix.
He might be, but he did it. He's done a decent job mentoring young players throughout his career. Yeah, just to give him a little bit more of a rub.
No doubt. Yep, no doubt.
I wish he was here actually, because his coaching style is.
He'd be a great assistant. Yeah,
he joined the Penguins coaching staff back in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They had the NHL draft here in Philadelphia that year. And I was there, which was great because he actually did.
He did.
Did he really?
Yes. So what happened was during roll call before the draft started, every table the GM would announce, so and so here for the Atlanta Thrashers.
Mm-hmm.
And
smattering of booze,
so we booed the Rangers, blah blah blah.
Of course.
We go. I forget who. I think it was Hextall, might have been his first or second year.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Hextall, and we just blow up in excitement. Next, alphabetically, was Jim Rutherford. We were booing so loudly. He's like, "This is Jim Rutherford of the Pittsburgh Penguins." Because we just drowned him out with booze.
That's awesome.
But when it came time for the Penguins to pick, Rutherford, being the coward he is, sent Tocchet up to make the pick.
Well, you got it in that motion.
Wow.
And we booed Tocchet, and Tocchet said, "Jim, I told you it wasn't going to make a difference if you sent me up here."
It makes him even better human being.
That's a great guy. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so moving on, the guy Tocchet was traded for to Pittsburgh, Mark Recchi.
I'll start with Recchi. Absolutely.
Great. Yeah.
Absolutely, as a Flyers player, even though he's played so many other places. And I think I remember Recchi, just hockey-wise, remember more as the Penguin being pissed that he came to the Flyers just to have a conversation that he's in the Flyers Hall of Fame. I absolutely just because you'll spout numbers. He's unparalleled. Like the dude should absolutely be he was part of the crazy eighth line, and nobody remembers that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Come on, who remembers Brent Fennick?
Only because he was on the crazy eights line.
Exactly. Only was on the crazy eights line. Yeah, I think my memories of
Lindros, Recchi, and that other guy.
And that other guy. My memories of Recchi were really the second part. It was funny because like he did score the most points, I think, by a player in the franchise's history ever.
In a season, yes.
In a season, right.
123 points.
Which is remarkable.
Which gets you in without other stats.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing that I remember him was his second stint back. And he comes back and he ends up, I think, scoring a key goal, game winner against Toronto, I think it was. Didn't win the series, but it was an overtime winner.
Triple overtime.
Thank you, yeah. Triple overtime winner.
Wearing 11?
Yeah, wearing 11?
No, I think he was back to 8 at that point.
Was he really? Okay.
Well, thank God. Because that would be a weird photo to have on your wall. Right, 11 Recchi scoring a game-winning goal.
Still, someone's got to have a jersey with that done, right? You would think like some guy went and has like a black Flyers jersey with Recchi 11 on the back. There's got to be somebody around here.
Who had the when? Because shame on what was it? Jody Hull.
Jody Hull had it. Yeah.
Shame on Jody Hull for not giving 8 up immediately when Recchi gets traded.
Yeah, it's like, how does that even happen?
I'm throwing shade on him. Like, who are you not to drop that number literally when the news drops?
Yeah.
We're 40. We're 42. It doesn't matter. You matter nothing.
Recchi was reacquired in 1998.
There you go.
At which time you were correct, John. Jody Hull was sporting number 8.
Screw Jody Hull. That's what I'm saying.
Fortunately,
not giving Recchi 8 the whole time.
Exactly.
Fortunately for everyone, Jody Hull switched with Mark the following season.
Oh, there you go.
By the way,
Jody Hull has a choice.
By the way, I believe Recchi wore 11 in Boston. Now that I think about it.
You're right.
No,
he did.
Totally did, and that makes me more angry because what if Jody Hull would have been a man and he gave him 8? He would have worn 8 the whole career.
Well,
calling you out, Jody Hull.
Who wore 8 in Boston? Was it Cam Neely?
Yes.
Yeah,
Cam Neely wore 8.
Yeah,
and I think they were going to retire that number, so that made sense. Yeah.
Now I'm going to shit on Mark Recchi for not having you couldn't have wore 88. Come on, bro. We're not numbers. Come on, we're not thinking.
No, exactly. Oh, that's funny.
Should have worn 98. Put do the 9.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
I'm just messing. I'm just playing around.
So Recchi's the knock on Recchi, that I hear is that he had more success away from the Flyers than he did with the Flyers, and he did win 3 Stanley Cups. Obviously, none with us. 1 with Pittsburgh, 1 in Carolina, and 1 in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
But he played the most games in his career with the Flyers. It was 602. He is 9th all time in regular season scoring with 627 points for the Flyers in 602 games.
Point per game.
Point per game. Absolutely.
Yeah.
More than a point per game.
More than a point per game. I mean, that's,
That's impressive.
You can't go wrong with that. Yeah.
I say in.
Yeah, I would say in. I mean, I'd probably be on the border bubble out, but I think bubble in would be the more accurate statement. I think the impact he made on his career here, you think about that, early 90s. Flyers weren't all that good. He puts up 123 on a team where he had absolutely no business to put up 123. He could have phoned it in. He didn't. He proved his worth, really. Proved how great of a player he was to do that. Of a team that just wasn't going anywhere, had really bad defense, really bad goaltending, and he was playing that kind of.
Followed that up with I think it was like 101 the next.
101 the next season, yeah. So I mean, the guy could flat out play, and he was also very well liked by by the fan base and the Flyers as well. Came back for the second stint, made a couple runs with us. Obviously, had more success leaving, but I would say bubble in. I would say he's in for me, for sure. I think the impact he made, just in those 2 seasons in the early '90s, really solidified him. I think for me.
Absolutely.
Agree. All right, so the last candidate, my wife's favorite player. So she'll be happy.
I think he's all of our favorite players in one way or another. We
Yeah.
all have love to show to him.
No doubt.
Yeah, so that's Simone Gagne.
Yeah.
He unfortunately he had some injuries. He missed an entire season with a concussion. It was like 2008, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I think he would have had even more good statistics.
Yeah.
He played 691 games in a Flyer uniform, scored 264 goals, 535 points, which puts him 12th all time regular season scoring.
Yeah.
You're in immediately if you're above 20.
Yeah.
I bet you the top 11 are probably in or going in, right?
Yeah. So funny too. Those numbers that you just said, Steve, with the number of goals and number of points, it's very similar to Rick Tocchet. Tocchet had the same amount of virtually the same amount of goals, same amount of points.
It is.
So you have like generational talents there. It's really amazing. Just stop to think about that. Yeah.
Gagne also, and I think where this definitely makes him, for sure in 90 games played in the playoffs.
Yeah.
32 goals. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention Gagne was plus 140 for his Flyer career.
How do you even do that? Like if you if you take about the Forsberg years, he's minus 40.
Forsberg year and a half.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just messing around. But no, it's absolutely the Forsberg years, the year and a half that Forsberg is there, probably gives him a decent rub in that.
Yeah.
But no, the fact that he's been good on a bunch of lines.
Yeah. That was the thing. You could plug and play him anywhere.
Yeah, he goes in for this reason and this reason only. Before he got older, he was at least the top winger or second top winger, and at least on the power play and penalty kill his entire career with the Flyers. Like he never went backwards to a third line or anything. Like he was at least a top 4 scorer. He was definitely top 2 winger the entire time. And you're talking a ton of guys that came through in his career.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I think he's in, like you said, generational talent. Like he was Claude Giroux before Claude Giroux.
Yeah.
Like that generational talent that is just, he solidifies your wing for X amount of years. So I think he's definitely in just for that.
Yeah, I would agree.
He has also scored some of the biggest playoff goals.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know which one Matt wants to point out.
2010. Yeah. 2010 was my absolute favorite because of the way they came back to win it in Game 7. But, yeah, there was also 2004, Tampa Bay, to force Game 7.
Yeah.
He's been he's been a clutch performer. And 1 out of every 3 playoff games, he's scoring a goal. I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that. 30 goals, 90 playoff games. So, the guy was a clutch performer, great player. One of the funniest things that I remember when he eventually won a cup with, I believe it was the Kings.
Yes.
He had his separated shoulder, and he tried to lift the cup up with the separated shoulder and almost dropped the cup. And it was like, oh my gosh, you got to be careful. Or something was like either a separated shoulder or a broken clavicle or collarbone. And he tried to lift the cup up, and he almost dropped it. It was so funny.
Just lift it. Lift it one-handed, damn it.
32-pound trophy. You're not going to,
As one more thing, he's one of the only Flyer players where he has a number that a Hall of Famer has, and we're talking about him going into Hall of Fame. Like, nobody knows about that number lineage because he created his own lineage with that number, 12. Which is very rare in sports.
Yeah.
Yes.
No doubt.
I just wanted to bring up Matt's talked about Game 7 against Boston in 2010. It's easy to forget because of that goal. He actually scored the overtime winner in Game 4 which kept the series alive. And that was his first game back from a broken foot he had suffered in the previous series.
Wow.
So he was a warrior for sure.
No doubt about that.
And a phenomenal goal scorer.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
All right, so
that shot just to end the whole thing. That shot between the circles, when he could move off his player and just get that pass, you couldn't stop it.
No,
Brodeur, one of the greatest goaltenders, couldn't stop that.
Yeah,
he had that great motion where he could like toe drag it in one move and then fire a wrist shot off.
He just had
that wrist shot was a rocket. That was the thing, Steve. It was like one of those you drag, and he just able to just wrist it right by him, and it was a rocket of a wrist shot.
That's probably why he had a separated shoulder in the Stanley Cup Finals.
That's probably why. Exactly. And it was with the Lightning. That's right. He won it with the Lightning, I think.
No.
It was the Kings. That's right.
No, it was the Kings. He played for the Lightning. Yeah.
Got it.
He did.
Got it. Yep.
Which that's how much I love Simone Gagne. I remember he played for the Lightning.
Yep. Cool.
All right. So now to our list of retired players who may in the future come up for consideration.
Yes.
They may have been considered in the final cut down this year, but we don't know. I'm going to list them out and we can talk about them in whatever order we want to do it. Yep. I have, and these are name recognizable Flyer players. We have Jeremy Roenick, Keith Primo, Mike Richards, Danny Briere, Scott Hartnell, and Kimmo Timonen.
Let's start with Kimmo Timonen because this is the one that we all love. Kimmo Timonen is in, and there's not much to talk about because Kimmo Timonen, Matt will tell you, like Kimmo Timonen is the third in our Mount Rushmore of defensemen. Yeah, he's in. He's absolutely just in.
This generation's Eric Desjardins, bar down, bar none. I can't come up with any other higher praise than that. Desjardins, of course, my man, but Timonen's right there, and he would be like, if you're like 15, 16 years old and you grew up watching the 2010 Flyers, you're like, oh my God, Kimmo Timonen is the best defenseman I've ever seen. You know, that kind of deal.
Steve, break down the Mount Rushmore that we have. Why Kimmo is in.
Well, he's actually third all time in defense scoring regular season for the Flyers, behind Mark Howe and Eric Desjardins.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah. No doubt about it. I think
and that's pretty much like we don't have the fourth. I beg him to become that fourth, but you know that is.
I think he'll get there.
Maybe it might be Ivan Provorov. You never know.
I love that kid more than I think he likes himself. His just playing style is amazing. But yeah, I want to see Provorov be the fourth. But in my modern day,
yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, we could add a 70s guy, but I was born in 78, so I got nothing for you guys for 70s Flyers hockey players that I've seen.
The only thing I could think of would be Ed Van Impe, and I remember that great quote that he had when he was skating by, against a Soviet player, and he elbows him, and the quote he said was, "Well, he ran into my elbow. What was I supposed to
do?" One human being, I won't divulge names, said about Ed Van Impe. Ed Van Impe is a better person than he is a player.
No doubt. But yeah, okay, Timonen's in. No doubt.
Timonen's in.
Yeah, Timonen's absolutely in.
So we have Roenick. Why don't we go Jeremy Roenick?
All right, let's talk Roenick.
So we got go ahead, Steve.
Go ahead, Steve.
The surprise we all had, and I thought it was just me.
No.
We all thought Jeremy Roenick played here a lot longer than he actually did.
No doubt.
It only turned out he was here for 3 seasons.
Which just so I can be the bearer of bad news, you're not in. You only played here for 3 seasons.
I would say, yeah. I mean, it's a bubble out for me. I mean, his impact was huge, no question. Big signing. Big free agent signing back then. And was a tremendous player in the early 2000s for us. Scored a lot of goals. Very exciting, very popular player.
Yeah, great goal scorer.
Great goal scorer. Great great player to play in NHL '94. By the way, his one timer was unbelievable.
There you go.
But bubble out. I think he's bubble out for me for the simple fact that he was only here for 3 seasons. John, to your point, it's kind of like,
yeah.
okay, well, what else? Where else? What else did you do? You didn't do much.
That would be like putting Adam Oates in. Like
Adam Oates was
now, hold on a second. Hold on.
Adam Oates was the reason.
Adam Oates was a cup of coffee, and that was pretty
Adam
much
Oates
it.
was only here for 24 games or whatever it was. But
He was
just
here
cup of
for
coffee,
a
and that
cup
did
of
it.
coffee, yeah.
Yeah.
Adam
No,
Oates,
but-
a cup of coffee, not the cream of the crop, not the ketchup and the mustard. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he just, it's just. I'm being facetious, but
Sure.
He was not here long. Like although we have fond memories, we talked about in pre-production. We talked about the goal he scored against the Rangers. I had the Inquirer piece cut out on my wall as a kid. Like when he scored and he's on the net, like that's one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah.
But dude, 3 years, Hall of Fame. Like, is he in the NHL Hall of Fame? Absolutely. Should
Yeah.
he be in
Over
Blackhawks Hall of
500
Fame?
goals.
Probably.
He definitely will
Could he
be.
in the Phoenix Coyotes Hall of Fame? Most likely.
And probably in the Chicago
Hall of
Blackhawks,
Fame, but he shouldn't be in this one.
but not in the Flyers. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
Just to round it out, his stats as a Flyer: 216 games, 67 goals. So he was 20 or more, I think, all 3 seasons.
Which but that was his error of. By the time he got here, he was long in the tooth. He was the playmaker. He wasn't the Jeremy Roenick goal scorer that Chicago knew.
211 points.
Yes, that's my point.
That's about a point a game, although
Yeah.
it has him only 58th in the Flyer list of regular seasons.
Yeah, see right there.
This I found interesting.
Hmm.
Plus 53 for his Flyer career. Jeremy Roenick was not what I considered a defensive center.
A plus player.
He was not a plus player. He's not. I don't think statistically, I don't know if we have that, but statistically, I don't think he was as a career plus player at all.
I think he was even, if I remember correctly. I'll have to look that up on hockey.
I don't think Jeremy Roenick is a defensive stalwart, and I don't think he was scoring ever at the level where he's gonna finish high plus.
No.
Like he's just not that guy.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Roenick's teammate for a number of seasons, and the reason my son has the name he has. That's Keith Primo.
Automatically in, and I'll only give you one reason. Captain, my captain.
Yeah.
So Bobby Clark was the captain in the 70s. Even Lindros being a captain.
Yeah.
As like the next big captain. Primo's my captain when you talk about the Flyers.
Yeah.
And I've seen, I've lived throughout all of the captains. Primo's a captain. You're just and this is my rule of if you were the captain of the Flyers team and they had somewhat success, you should probably be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So it doesn't his stats don't matter to me. Keith Primo was a Flyer captain for a long period of time.
Yeah.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And the fact that I love this game.
I can add to what John just said. I think he's exactly right. I think all three of us, if we ever were blessed to play ice hockey on the Flyers, would want Keith Primo captaining the entire team. Just for the simple fact that the guy would go into all kinds of grit and grime and muck and come out, lead you through all kinds of battles, and would come out as a winner. And that's who Keith Primo was.
He literally played for $5 million a year like we would in a Sunday game just for pride.
Yeah.
He played that way, and I think that's why he goes in.
Yeah.
He embodies what the Philadelphia Flyers are.
Steve, what are your thoughts on that real quick?
So I'll read his stats first. 312 games, 87 goals, 213 points. But he was not counted upon as kind of the top scoring threat. His worth a lot of times was his defensive presence. He was a very good defensive center.
Absolutely.
Great face-off guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Win you a draw anywhere. Offense, defense, neutral. Didn't matter.
He did very well on the power play too.
He did.
Yes, he did.
Very well.
And I think some of the playoff memories, I think, help the case to put him in. So
Absolutely.
Ended the longest game in the modern NHL history.
Yep.
In Pittsburgh in the year 2000 with the fifth overtime game winner. And it was a pretty goal. It wasn't like off somebody's rear end.
By the way, it started when I went to work and ended 3 hours after I got home from work. How long that game was.
There you go.
But also his run in 2004, which I think it ended in the conference finals against Tampa Bay only because I think the team ran out of gas. They had lost Desjardins before the playoffs even started. Defenseman Sammy Kapanen had to play shifts on defense because they were down so many defensemen. So the series against Toronto was brutally physical.
Bad.
Tampa Bay series went 7 games. And that was a long, tough series. But Phil Esposito was actually quoted as saying, watching Keith Primo in that run in 2004, that was the most dominant playoff run he's ever seen from anybody, and that includes Gretzky and Lemieux.
Wow.
Which is saying something.
That is really saying something. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think he's a resounding in.
100%.
The last thing I'll say, just a lot of the goals he scored that playoff year, and we're gonna get to Danny Briere, who was probably the most phenomenal playoff scorer I have ever seen. But Danny Briere's goals are like opportunistic. It's like all of a sudden he's there and then the puck is in the net. And it's like, where the hell did he come from?
Exactly.
Keith Primo would like skate it down the ice, beating 3 people up as he's skating with it, and then just like stuffing it in the net. You know, these were not things of beauty. These were
pull back, shoot, and then follow it up with 3 rebounds. And like, I'm gonna beat this.
Just gonna bury this puck into this net. Exactly.
Keith Primo was sheer will.
Yes.
And I think that
is why we love him so much. And
I will say I went to after he retired, unfortunately due to injuries. They had a Keith Primo night.
Nice.
It was the year the Flyers were god awful. But they beat the Detroit Red Wings, who I think won the Stanley Cup that year.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So it was like 7-1.
Oh, geez.
They absolutely annihilated him. And I do think Keith Primo's presence had something to do with it.
Something to do with it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, you mentioned Danny Briere. There's another guy on your list, Steve, and I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, you're talking about a guy that can flat out score, especially when it comes to the playoffs. I think there was one stat we looked up that was amazing. I think it was 2011-12. He had a shooting percentage of 30% in that playoff run. This was the year after the 2010.
Yes.
30% shooting percentage.
That's huge. What are you looking at? Normal. The good players are 24.
The normal is usually around 18.
Players are
15, 18%. This was double that.
Really, 15 18 is good.
Yeah, this is
24
double that.
Is like superstar. Like,
it was freaking phenomenal. 30% shooting. That's phenomenal.
The knock that I've heard against Briere is that he didn't spend enough time here. He was here by my count, I think around 5 seasons.
I think so. Yeah.
I thought that would be like longer than that. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a lot. He had 364 games as a Flyer.
364. Okay.
Which he scored 283 points. But what does it for me
is the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
That transcends the amount of years, to be honest.
Yeah.
68 playoff games played as a Flyer.
Can't wait for this. Okay.
37 goals.
Jeez.
72 points.
Yeah.
Okay. That is a point a game, over a point a game. He is the only player, he's one of 2 players in Flyer history to have played in 50 or more playoff games and averaged a point or per game or more. The other is Eric Lindros. In 68 games, which is also by far the lowest in the top 10, he is number 7 all time in Flyer playoff score.
Oh my gosh.
That pretty much just puts you into the Hall of Fame right there.
He's in. Yeah.
That alone gets him
Yeah.
there, in my estimation.
No,
It's the same thing with Recchi with the single season. You know what I mean? Like once you hold one of those records, you just gotta go in.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for reminding me, because Briere also holds the Flyer single season point record for playoff year.
There you go.
With 30 in 2010.
There you go. So he's got 2.
one.
So he's got 2 records. So he's definitely in. If we're using the Mark Recchi rule,
There you go.
That's interesting because this kind of just popped in my head. Is he the most popular Flyer of the last 10, 15 years?
I'll only give you one.
Maybe Giroux.
And I'm not that much of a Flyers fan, but I was back when Briere came here. When Briere got traded, I literally worked. I took 3 extra shifts so I could pre-order the black
48.
Danny Briere jersey the week when it was coming, because it was coming out a week. And I was like, I remember calling my manager. I was like, how much overtime you have? Well, I've got 3 extra shifts. And I was like, well, I'm going to take them because I want them, because I want the $295 jersey. Literally worked it, bought it, and had it. I gave it away a couple years ago to a deserving young man, but I need it when he got traded here. He was my favorite player for Buffalo.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorite NHL players, and the fact that he came to the Flyers blew my mind. I got to meet him twice, and he signed a ton of stuff for me. I adore him as a human just as much as I do as a player. He's a better player than he is a human. Just joking. But I'm just saying, like, my love for him as a player is bigger than.
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
No, that's good. That's really good.
All right. So popular players were on. I think another guy he played with was pretty popular. That was Scott Hartnell.
Yep.
Scott Hartnell had a lengthy Flyer career. 517 games.
Wow. Okay.
326 points. He was Hartnell was. This shocked me. Plus 49 for his Flyer career.
Makes no sense.
For all the times he fell down, plus 49. Go figure.
Yeah.
Go figure.
He probably fell down on the power play a couple times while they were scoring on his way back. There's no other explanation for that.
He fell down in Game 7, got back up, roofed the backhander, scores a goal, got him within 1. I mean, what more can you say? That's Scott Hartnell's career. Yeah.
If we're going on that, he's in the Hall of Fame. Not great dude, great humanitarian.
Maybe he needs a couple more years, do you think, Johnny?
No, I think he needed a couple more goals.
A couple more goals. Okay.
157 wasn't good enough for you?
No, not for the length of his career.
Okay.
Like, he didn't do what Kelly did. You know what I mean? Wasn't a presence everywhere. It was a decent play. Like, I think the dude's eventually going to get in the Hall of Fame for the Flyers because he's a Flyer. True, but I just don't think, like, now that maybe we need to forget some of the things about his career, and then we'll think of him like we do Kelly, like how great he was. You know what I mean? Like, just efficient in. He was the throw-in in the Chemo Tiemann trade. We had to take him just so we could get Chemo Tiemann in. I just want to put perspective on it.
Okay, fair.
We needed his salary.
Yeah.
We needed to take his salary so we could get a guy like Chemo Tiemann.
Yeah. Decent player, I will say that. I'd say he was probably a decent player. I was probably, if I had to make a choice of whether or not he's in, I would say bubble in, but barely. I think it would probably be a couple more years of appreciating his career. I think that's probably the biggest.
Or forgetting the deficiencies.
Of him falling down, getting back up, and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, when you fall down that many times, and you create a T-shirt that goes to a charity, I think it helps a children's charity, if I'm not mistaken.
Great human being. Great human being.
You can't ask for any better than that. I mean,
Great human being.
Great human being. Can't ask for any better than that.
What do you think, Steve?
I think he's in.
You think he's in? Okay.
The Hartnell down stuff was great.
Yeah.
I think he had a long enough career here and was a fan favorite.
Mm-hmm.
For a really long time.
Yep.
I mean, the 2012 Since I'm in the wrestling gear, he did it to the guys in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I can't disagree. I just
It's a showman. Yeah.
yeah, I just
Yeah.
And he stuck up for his teammates. He was a great teammate.
Yeah.
He threw his glove at a dude on a breakaway. That was fantastic.
I don't think anybody could say anything bad about him.
No.
Like, I really don't think that any NHL player would say anything bad about him. I don't think any executive or any coach would say anything bad about him.
Yeah.
It's just one of those, like Matt said, he's a bubble in. Like, for me, he's just a bubble out. I'm like,
Okay.
I haven't been away from you long enough to know that you can do these things.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
All right, so
maybe 10 years, I'm like, Hartnell was the best, but I got away from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess this is the first one we really disagree on, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we disagree on the next one at all.
No.
Yeah, so the last one is Mike Richards.
Absolutely not.
Out. Yeah.
Absolutely not.
This one is, I mean, his career was so, what's the word? I don't think it was polarizing, but it was definitely a controversial move to give the captaincy to a kid that was 23 years old.
Yeah.
With a major city where the expectations are you have to win the Stanley Cup every single year.
When just to quote Steve when we were talking about this in pre-production, when Kimmo Timonen's on the team, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It was a bold move by bad management, and I don't blame Mike Richards for his career here, like, at all. Like, I won't pull any punches with that. I don't blame Mike Richards for any of it. He was set up to fail, and he failed very well.
Spectacularly,
yeah, he failed very well here. Love him as a player, loved him with the Kings, followed him all the way to the Kings, enjoyed that first Stanley Cup run.
Yep.
Enjoyed that he won a second one, not being as a part of it as everybody wanted him to be.
Yeah.
Because you want to see guys like that succeed because he's a good dude. But as Flyers, it's literally, for me, it's against the rule that I made for Primo being the captain.
Yeah.
Because he was the captain, but it was so unsuccessful, and it left a shit ton of responsibility in Claude Giroux's lap that might have hampered Giroux because of the shitstorm that he left because he wasn't ready.
Yeah, that could be a thought.
And it kind of burns me a little bit that, like, you could have at least handed off or ripped it off your chest if you weren't ready. That's where so it's too controversial. Like, there's no way you could put him in the Hall.
Eric Desjardins stepped down as captain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was kind of going for. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just sometimes you can't lead.
Yeah, and that was a disaster. I remember when Desjardins was captain, it was like all of a sudden, okay, well, we got to give it to somebody because Lindros is like, crap in the bed, and it's like, do you want it? Yeah, okay. I think that's probably what happened. It was, yeah, I'll do it.
Well, at that point, I think Desjardins probably made sense because Primo had been traded there that year, so it didn't really
doesn't know anybody. Yeah, and Desjardins
you're going to give it to the veteran guy.
And I don't think they wanted Leclerc as the captain. Recchi had just come back the season before. I think Desjardins made sense. But my point was Desjardins had the sense to realize this is not my role.
My role.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm saying.
And
like,
I'm more of the captain of the defense than I am captain of the team.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I agree with John. I think the Flyers made the decision before he even came to the team that Mike Richards eventually was going to be the captain of the future. I don't think he was made for it.
I'd be okay with it if they gave it to Kimmo for 3 seasons and then transferred it over. Get the kid,
I think that would have made sense.
Wet under the ears, get him learning, keeping him in that room because you don't because everybody knows mentorship, right?
Oh, sure.
All of us are bringing on people that we think that are not ready, but we know they can be at some time. You're bringing them into the big conversations. You're bringing them into but they never did that with him. And I think that,
but you don't force.
Great. He's a good hockey player.
Yep.
He's not a great hockey player. He's got 2 cups. You could say he's got more than most people have.
Yeah.
But not
a captain.
A Flyers.
Not a captain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a captain that young. Not at 23. I think that is,
and not a Hall of Famer.
And not a Hall of Famer. Yeah.
I don't want to make it seem like he didn't have some great moments here. I think he did.
Mm-hmm.
He absolutely did. He absolutely.
The 2010 run, he was an integral part of that.
No doubt.
He had that big goal against Montreal, the shorthanded goal.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you guys. I think the captaincy was too much, and I think he succeeded in LA because in LA he was more of a role player.
Mm-hmm.
Who was it? Who was the captain? Dustin Brown.
Dustin Brown.
Yep.
Dustin Brown was the captain. You had a superstar in Andrzej Kopitar.
Pressure's off.
You had Drew Doughty to lead the defense. You had Jonathan Quick, a phenomenal goalie.
Yeah.
Mike Richards didn't have to play the lead dog role.
No.
Pressure was totally off. And when that
He
happens.
could just do what he did with the Flyers is play with Jeff Carter on a line. You know what I mean? And have fun.
Yeah. Pressure was completely off his shoulders at that point.
That's when he really started to excel, when he could just have fun.
Agreed. Yeah.
And, who knows if it could have happened here, but the last year here soured me on him because it looked like he didn't want to be here.
He didn't want to play. Yeah.
The intensity I saw in 2010 when they went to the Cup final, it just kind of disappeared.
All but gone. Yeah.
I agree. And I know some personal things that I will not say on the podcast, but Steve is absolutely right. There was a lot of deflation.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
on the outside, not just on the rink. I'm talking about behind the scenes. There was a ton of deflation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think
100% correct.
Yeah.
We all know why his run with the Kings ended.
Yep.
It was the same reason why. It was the same reason why that Flyers thing. It was the exact same reason, but it was just not publicized.
Yeah.
It was nice. I will say it was nice. I was happy to just because from personal experience from people who suffer from addiction, it was nice to see him get back into the league when he played for Washington.
Oh, absolutely.
No doubt.
I was happy to see that.
Absolutely.
He was never going to be the same player. And I think as a role player, he would have done a lot better than he did as captain. So
I don't think any of us hate him as a player. That's the funny part about it.
I would agree with that. Yeah. But he just wasn't. Again, it goes back to the leadership for me. It's like you're 23 years young. Here you go. Here's the captaincy of a National Hockey League team in a city that has a ton of pressure to win the cup. I don't think that's really what you want to do to a 23-year-old.
Unless that 23-year-old, there are young captains in the league.
No doubt.
But
Pronger was a young captain.
But Pronger had the personality.
Yeah.
He was way beyond his years.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's okay to name a 23-year-old captain or younger if they have the personality to handle it.
When they can handle a 29-year-old, with a family of 4. 23-year-old can't look a dude in the eye with a family of 4 trying to get ice time and trying to work his ass off while the captain's going out and partying. You're not going to see eye to eye.
Exactly. That's a great point. That's a great point. Steve, that was a great list. Yeah.
Before we move on, he's not retired yet and he's still a Flyer, but
let's do it real quick.
Claude Giroux.
Yes.
Absolutely in.
Absolutely. Like we said about Simone Gagne, he's a generational talent.
Yep.
And I'll make the point in National Hockey League. He's a generational talent for the fact that Crosby, Ovechkin, those guys, he's playing amongst them and he doesn't look small to that task.
No.
And that's what you need to really look at in a generational talent. It's kind of like I'll just take just out of the realm of nowhere. Jason Spezza.
Yep.
Damn good player.
Mm-hmm.
Played in the time that Simone Gagne was finishing his career. Mm-hmm. You can look them be very parallel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But it's looking at I'm not saying Claude Giroux is the talent that they are, but he is definitely in Philadelphia that generational talent that takes that team to that next generation.
He's not a pure scorer like Ovechkin, but he kills penalties.
Yeah,
he does.
Takes defensive zone draws. Yeah,
defensive zone draws. He is one of the top 2 in the league in faceoffs. It seems like every year, Couturier being the other one.
Yeah.
I love Sean Couturier.
Which, by the way, I love him to death. I would love him to score 70 goals a year just so I could tout him up as like the greatest thing I've ever seen. Because he like seems like he's going to score 70 every year and never does. Like, that's how good he is.
Yeah.
And Claude Giroux, not only does he have the talent, but he has the attitude.
Yeah.
And I think you can see he competes every time he's on the ice.
No doubt about that.
He's generational.
You never see a shift off with him. Yeah, I agree.
No. He is a competitor to the core, and when they don't win,
hockey like Mike Missinelli.
Yeah. It's only a matter of time before Tyrone Johnson gets his own show, John. So just wait on.
He better.
Exactly.
Knows his shit.
Well, topic 4, gents, as we start to wrap up episode 50 here, we're talking a little fantasy Philly sports. So this segment is all about who we would want to see in the most pressure-packed, lights are bright situations, who's going to come through in the clutch to win a game or a playoff series or whatever. So I'm just going to throw this out here. Mm-hmm. It's bottom of the ninth. You got 2 outs. You got a runner on second. You're down 1. Okay. Who do you want at bat? And it doesn't matter who, in the Phillies, who do you want at bat to give you the 2-1 homer to give you the win? The walk-off homer. I'm going to go to Steve first. Who would you want?
To me. I have to, it's just, it's happening right now. I got to go 2021 Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
He's playing out of his mind, and I think if you need that homer, he's going to get it for you.
He's going to give it to you.
You can't. And I'm going to go very kitschy because of the 08 team. I'm going to go 08 Jason Worth. Because that dude
that's not a bad selection at all, really. Honestly.
That dude was clutch as hell.
Clutch as hell.
He earned that contract he got with the Nationals.
Yeah.
Just because he was that clutch.
No doubt. I couldn't disagree with either one of those selections for me. Chase Utley, 2008. And I would want it against the damn Mets as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You got so
just
many.
Just to stick the knife in a little bit more. Okay, 2-minute drill. You're down 5. You're the Eagles against the Cowboys. Let's just make this fancy NFC championship game.
All right.
You need to get 6 points, right, to win the game. 2-minute drill. Who do you want as quarterback? John. Nicky Foles. Okay.
The only one that's ever completed the task. So
maybe Donovan?
No.
Maybe?
No.
Nicky Foles.
Not.
Okay.
Just would you clear for the record? I hate Donovan McNabb as a person, as a player, as I don't even care about his career here. Like he sucks that bad. Other than the broken ankle, 4 touchdowns, Arizona, I give him props for that. That's it. I hate him for everything else in life. I think he's a smug piece of shit.
Tell us how you really feel. Nicky Foles. Steve.
I don't hate Donovan McNabb as like John.
You didn't get to meet him.
Hey, look, I'm just saying as a player.
No, I understand.
No, I have respect for what he did as a career. I
do too. I'm just being facetious.
Yeah.
He just couldn't get over the hump. And John's right. Nick Foles is really the only guy to do it. And he did it against probably the best.
Yeah.
Tom.
Playing
this week. He's still doing it.
Yeah. Look,
112.
He went. I know they don't play against each other, but you went toe to toe with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Score for score. Yeah.
Score for score. This was not the Giants of 07 or 11 that beat Tom Brady by playing defense.
Yeah.
There was really no such thing in Super Bowl 52.
Yeah.
No. It was score for score.
It was score for score. You went score for score with Tom Brady. You caught a touchdown, okay, against Tom Brady.
That you called.
You called. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the ice water debate. Like that's what I hope 2021 Bryce Harper is for the Phillies.
Yep.
This is what I hope Jalen Hurts is going to be. That guy.
Yeah.
When you talk quarterback in Philadelphia history, I want that guy catching the touchdown pass, not throwing it, that calls it when he just drove the team down.
Yeah. I can't disagree with both of you. I mean, my God, the most clutch quarterback we've ever seen in the history of this franchise, really.
Exactly. Now, we don't have anybody else.
Just because I want to name drop him, just because to give him some love, because I love the guy.
Go for it.
Just on pure moxie alone, my next choice would be Coy Detmer.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Dude, that San Francisco game.
Oh.
The dislocated elbow.
That was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
It was.
That literally, I always imagine this, and we've talked about this a million times, me and you, when it was happening. Me and you talked about it. It's literally like he took Andy Reid's playbook, rewrote it in the huddle, handed it back to him at the end game. It was like, this is how you operate your offense, because that's literally what he did.
Yeah.
Against a
really good 49ers team. Yeah.
Yeah, like that wasn't the shake your stick at team.
That was a couple years removed from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, that gives you an idea. Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a shake your stick. No, that absolutely.
All right.
And for him to go into Green Bay, and to bullwhip at Brett Favre.
Oh yeah.
You know, I know we lost the game, but that kid showed some real guts there.
Oh yeah, real moxie, absolutely. All right, you're down 1. You on the foul line. You need 2 free throws. You're the Sixers.
Not Ben.
You make both of them. You win the NBA title.
Oh jeez. Then I really want JoJo. I didn't know it was for the NBA title.
It's the NBA title. You're down JoJo, 1, game 7.
Yeah. JoJo's making them. For the NBA title, JoJo's making them and then riding a horse off. The way he should.
They got the white horse right in the ring for you in the stadium.
Like, he is the new Coy Detmer.
That's awesome. Steve.
As much as I would love to see that, riding on the horse,
I definitely want to see that. Like,
that I would love to see that, but my choice would be JJ Redick, just because he's like 99.99999% on free throws.
Yeah, you can't.
He just shot a 3-throw right now and didn't miss.
He shoots them. He shoots them like they're nothing.
Like that.
He doesn't even like the guys will like stand there like holding the ball, like aiming, and he just goes like, all right, son.
I bet he does that when he's putting his laundry in the laundry basket.
Probably. I bet you. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to give you guys
allowed to shoot them behind the back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
98% free throw.
Like that. I'm going to give you a little old school. Andrew Toney. How about that in the 80s? I think like if it were, you can't do it against Boston, but he had ice water in his veins. Come on, I mean, especially
absolutely.
You know, you got to throw that out there. But I can't disagree with both your selections.
Absolutely.
And then finally, we got a penalty shot in the Flyers, and it's
overtime.
Overtime.
Well, I'll go first. If I can't have Forsberg, I want Giroux.
Okay, Steve.
Michael Hanzus.
He actually love Michael Hanzus though.
He did score a penalty shot.
He did in
overtime.
He did.
A regular season game.
Yep.
I don't hate Michael Hanzus.
No,
that's like it's the best compliment I could give him.
Slowest skater I've ever seen, but he has some hands.
Good play though.
He could
still
play.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah.
He had a long career. He was
no doubt.
Good.
Yep.
He was like Sean Couturier, but slowed down like 5 times.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you giving me a penalty shot in overtime. I'm taking Danny Briere.
Oh, there you go.
You can't argue with that.
Can't argue with that. Yeah, Giroux for me, hands down.
I can't argue with that either.
Yeah, you can't argue with it. Like the only reason I if I can't have Forsberg, because Forsberg was only here for a short period of time.
Yep.
Like he's my absolute number one. But you're right. Like Danny Briere, Claude Giroux, like longer term.
Yeah.
Like talking there, who else do you?
Who else would you want? Yeah, I mean, and all three of us really. Can you imagine if you're the coach, right? We made that point in pre-production. Can you imagine if like you're the coach and like, okay, you got your choice of Danny Briere, Claude Giroux, or Peter Forsberg to take a penalty shot. What's that, John?
Here,
you'd be confused as a coach. You're looking down like, who's not gonna
take this?
Hot right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Here. So, all right, Forsberg, but at one point he was not on the same team with Briere and Giroux.
Right.
But another guy who I wouldn't mind taking in a shootout was on the team at the same time. That would be Jaromir Jagr.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I'd have no problem sending him out.
No problem sending him out.
I think he falls in the Forsberg. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I
would
mean?
agree.
Like, because they weren't here that long.
That long. But, yeah.
But yeah,
Steve's point,
absolutely.
I'm throwing him out there. Absolutely. If he's hot, I'm throwing him out there to take that penalty shot. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, gents. Well, we got one more, and it's our happy segment. And this is a great video involving yet another World War II generational man who got to ride in an airplane. So I'm going to go ahead and share this clip. Because that's what we do here around Two Noobs.
Yes, we do.
Henceforth, to make the happy segment, you must be 100 years or older.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
The new rules being written by our lawyer there, Steve Murray.
Here we go.
So I'm Katie. I'm the Healthy Lifestyles Director here at Elmcroft and Mountain Home. Every month we partner with an organization called Second Wind Dreams, and we try to give the residents an experience that they can remember, whether that be something that they've never done before but always have wanted to do, or something that they have done that they would love to experience again.
We had always admired Wayne.
Yeah.
Took her a while. Especially the biplanes.
Well, we're gonna get to hang out with it for most of the afternoon. Take a bunch of photos and have a good time with it. So.
Very good.
Yeah.
We get magazines in here all the time, and we were thumbing through one day, and we saw the Dream Flights article, and we just knew that with Bob turning 100, this is something that we had to make happen. During this pandemic, you know, they haven't had any kind of outside socialization or anything like that, and so we strive to serve them in any way possible. We try to focus on those areas of life, especially the sense of adventure and socialization. So we try to give back to our residents who have done so much in their life already, and we can't thank them enough for being a part of our community.
Thank you.
Right out of gas, huh?
Yep.
Oh boy, that was wonderful.
Is that good?
Uh-huh.
Was that fun?
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
That was really great. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
All right. That sounds good to me. Excellent.
Well, gents, what do you think?
That was awesome.
91 years young, or over 90 years young.
100 or whatever.
Yeah.
That's really cool that they have those things. We've seen other things like that where they seek out these veterans and they let them do, you know, in their older years, they let them do what they are accustomed doing and what they probably miss doing. Obviously, look at that gentleman, like he missed being in the sky.
Yeah.
Like he missed it like more than I think we miss anything. Like you could just see it in his, he remembers those times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Long ago. And it's nice that they bring these memories back, you know, like they don't have much time left. And, you know, we should probably be doing good things for them.
No doubt.
On the way out, because the sacrifice that they made, we can't ever repay them for that.
Nope. So well stated. Yeah, absolutely. So that does it, gents. That closes out our wonderful episode of Two Noobs Talking, episode 50. My thanks, of course, to Mr. Randy Savage up there. We spared no expense, John, as we always do around here in Two Noobs, to have, oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Snap into a Slim Jim. Oh yeah.
Oh, those will give you heart failure.
Absolutely do. Oh man! But my thanks to Steve Murray, of course, for joining us here on a very
Always a
special
pleasure.
episode of Two Noobs. And Johnny, couldn't have asked for a better co-host. Obviously, for the last 50 episodes we've done, it's amazing. On to another 50, right?
Well, just a quick thank you to both of you guys for taking something that I concepted in my brain and put it, or able to put it out on the screen. It definitely is the coolest thing, hanging out with you guys, and just Steve, always a pleasure. And we always, as soon as we finish this episode, we're going to think about the next time we're going to have Steve on. So this is kind of how production works.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right back at you there, bud. Boom. Fist bump. So let's hit them with socials. So where can people find us, Johnny?
All right. Well, fuck Facebook, and we're going to be on Instagram, TikTok, and Clapper, and that's going to bring short videos back to our
main YouTube channel, the Two Noobs Talking podcast. We really love it. Of course, if you like, share, and subscribe to our videos. And of course, on our audio listeners, I'm going to give it over to Randy Savage up there. Randy, where can people find us on the audio side, brother?
Yeah, where can people find you on audio? Yeah, how about Apple Podcasts? Yeah, Podbean. Yeah, spreading the word, the good word of the Two Noobs. Yeah, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts. Some people need to step up their game, though. Talking to you, Spotify. Yeah, John's not digging you. Neither am I. Yeah, you can also Google us on
Google. Love it. Love it. And of course, our show notes are found TwoNoobsTalking.wordpress.com. If you go there, of course, and enter in your email address, you're not going to be entered in for raffle. What's going to happen is the show notes will show up in your inbox the very next day, where we're going to have links to all the articles we referenced today. Not many, but that's okay. We do these things to let you know and to get you to read and think and be a part of the community. So there you go. So that's it, gents. Episode 50 is in the can. And again, thanks to Steve Murray, Randy Savage, John Tracy. John, Steve, do you have anything final to say before we get the heck out of here tonight?
Oh, the ketchup is on the meat. Yeah. Oh.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. 50. Give me 50 more. And that's it. Brain.
All right. Talk to y'all next week, guys. Take care.
This country was founded by geniuses, but it's being run by a bunch of idiots. Why do the members of the United States Senate continue to double down on stupid?